Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 98 and 22. Channel 98 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 13, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv. Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.
I'm going to call the meeting of the Swasey Parkway Trustees to order. Mr. Short is not going to be here tonight. On my left is Darius Thompson. He is vice chair. I am Dwayne Staples. I'm the chair, and we also have our select board rep and the chairman of the select board here tonight.
Good evening.
Next item would be public comment. There is nobody here. If somebody comes in, we can do that afterwards. Next item is approve the minutes of the June 21st meeting. I took those minutes. Everybody should have gotten them. Is there any errors or omissions in those?
No, there's not.
Okay, then I'm going to make a motion that we approve the minutes of June 21st, 2023.
Second.
Our sidewalk meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. They are approved. Next is the update on the dog sign. That was you,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Which was very good, by the way, when we saw it. So
Thank you.
You were going to tweak it?
Yes, I do have a question, and I will refer to our select board rep. More with the image that we have is a circle with looks like a dog and a slash through it, and so it can visually say no dogs allowed. I was wondering if it would make sense to copy the same language that is on the actual sign, to include that below that and say no dogs allowed per town ordinance, $100 fine.
That's actually a state park ordinance. It comes out of the state park, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm going to have to check with you on that, but I mean, I agree with you that I think it should be consistent with what the sign says, whether or not it's state or town ordinance, I'll have to get back to you.
Yeah, I believe, well, my observation of looking at all the parks that are in town, it looks like it's a town ordinance.
There is a town ordinance,
Town, that's
I just
right.
don't know
Oh,
if
okay.
the
The sign.
parkway, I assume the parkway would fall under the town ordinance, which does exist, but whether or not there's, so I mean, you could fall back on that.
Yeah.
Right. The tweak I was proposing to make is to include that exact language right below the image so that they can see both. It reinforces, oh, this is a town ordinance, or per ordinance, there's just the exact language, that's all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If that's okay, then I will
Yeah.
go ahead and make that, and then I will have a prototype with an example of what it looks like when we meet next or sooner.
Yeah, no, that's great. Actually, when he presented that at the sidewalk, we were all happy with it. We thought it should be a little bit bigger. And it's basically, it looks like a Ghostbuster sign with the dog in it. So I think that will work.
I don't see, if the
So-
language is consistent with the signage, then
Okay, super. And to your point, it will be wider, so that it'll be just one big board that all you have to do is spray it, and there it is.
Yeah, we talked about reaching out to the Public Works to see if they could paint it for us. Do the painting.
yeah.
I have not actually done that yet. I wanted to wait to see once we got the sign all squared away and all. So,
I'm sure if you reach out to Jay, I'm sure he can help you out.
yeah. All right, anything else on the sign?
No, that's
Great.
it.
Great.
Oh, there'll be two of them, so in
All right.
case one breaks.
Okay. Good idea. Great. Next item is, it's labeled planting along the fence behind the Harris Center. If you read the minutes, we did talk about that. Dave Short got an estimate on grinding the stumps. It's $1,000. I have reached out, I've not heard yet to see if the highway department would, we talked about taking that sidewalk up that goes from the sidewalk, that goes from the PA parking lot to the other sidewalk, because that stump that's right there, the root is underneath there. We've bantered this back and forth a little bit, what we wanted to do, and we finally came up to an agreement that we want to take that root out so that sidewalk can be fixed. That hot top isn't that thick on there anyways, and the stump grinding person also said, yeah, he could grind it with that on it, but a lot of that pieces of asphalt would be flying around, so the estimate is $1,000. I would like to make a motion to expend up to $1,500 just to make sure that we're covered to grind those stumps.
And my question on that, would that be enough?
Dave had said that the person he talked to, the stump grinder, said 1,000. I just want to make sure that in case we have to we run into the unknown.
The unforeseen circumstance.
Correct.
So if that is your motion, I will second it.
Okay, is there any discussion? Any questions?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. I just am gonna deviate from the agenda for a minute. The next is the sewer project, but then after that is the tree pruning. And I've talked with Dave. He was gonna get some pricing on treating the ash trees like we had talked about on our site walk. We did get some pricing from Piscataqua. he went down, he looked at the 5 trees along the river. That one ash tree that's over by the block building, he agrees should come down. He's not sure. He thinks that the beetle might be in that, but he's not sure. Either way, I know that we have talked about that tree for about a year. We've just delayed it. So here's the thing about this emerald ash borer treatment. And I talked with Dave about this tonight, so he's going to talk with another person, so I don't want to do a vote on this tonight, but I wanted to do an update. To treat the 5 trees, it would be $325 each, so it would be $1,625. The challenge right now is that we could treat that with a systemic insecticide, but what I'm being told, it's kind of like the old Dutch elm disease. There's no guarantee that the beetles still won't get in there and still deteriorate that tree. Right at the moment, they're still working on some different types of treatments. Those 5 trees along the river are healthy. Basically, if we did treat them and let's say the tree health started to deteriorate a little bit, the beetle got in there, that would wipe that tree out. Once we start treating, again, it's like the Dutch elm disease, we're going to be treating till perpetuity. So, Dave wanted to talk to a couple of other tree guys and see if they're closer to getting something that's better for treatment of that, or if we just are going to try and treat it to save those trees, knowing that if the borer does get in there, then those trees, the tree is going to have to come down. That treatment would have to be done every 12 to 18 months if we decide to do that. So this beetle is a real challenge.
And that's for all ash trees, or?
Yeah. So, and then we in my mind, we have to think about, okay, they're saying 25 years, we're going to get more flooding down there, 100 years, which we've all talked about. The parkway conceivably is going to be underwater. So, I know we've talked about also trying to addition to the wall down there. So this is a challenge as to where do we go with it. And I will say that my gut feeling is that we try and save them. However, and maybe this is something that we talk with the tree committee about. And I know that, the town does have a tree budget also. I can't imagine that those are the only ash trees that are around town still. So, where do we go with this?
Well, in my opinion, I believe we should try to save all trees, but there does come a point in time when you have to make a decision. Is it prudent to continue to put funds when you know that it's not going to survive? But also looking at that decision, and we get more information, if it can be shown that if this is an annual treatment that we have to do every 12 to 18, whatever the time period is, then we commit to doing it and we look to fund it and take care of it. But on the other thing, realistically, in that 100 years from now, some of those trees may not be visible just by the rise. So
correct.
Yeah, it's not an easy decision.
And that's why I say I would like to let Dave talk to somebody else, and then all three of us have a discussion about that.
Certainly.
And my hat's off to Chris Kemp at Piscataqua, because at least he was very honest about this, and when I'm old enough to remember a lot of those treatments for the Dutch elm, and they tried and tried, and at best, they may have saved some of those big trees for another 5 years, but eventually, and they did a lot of different treatments to those, so again, I would like to see what Dave finds out, and then we can try and make a prudent decision after that.
Certainly.
All right?
One other small comment about the one that it recommended that it comes down, then it should come down.
No, it should. We have to wait for some of the other things that are going on in the Parkway
before we can, do anything, but.
Yeah, no.
I liked your idea of consulting with the tree. I'm also the select board rep for the tree committee, and they're actually coming before the select board Monday night. They've put together the beginnings of a master plan for the town, so I think talking with them would probably, the two of you collaborating, perhaps.
Yeah, and anybody that has any type of newly planted trees this year, the weather, or over the last 3 years, the weather has not been kind to them. So, again, being in the green industry, I struggle a little bit with this, but like I said, my gut feeling is that we should try and do something if we can, and if it works. So, all right. So I jumped around a little bit. Now I'm going to jump back to the sewer project. Can Mr. Select Board Chair, can we have an update on that, please?
We were very close to crossing the finish line on time, and the subcontractor ran into another mechanical issue sometime on Thursday of last week. We put out a press release, the town put out a press release notifying folks exactly what had happened and what it would take to remedy the situation. Work is scheduled to commence in the next couple of days. The subcontractor and the town are bringing in a surveyor to make sure that when we take the next step to finish this project, that we're getting it done right. So I'm very okay with taking an extra 2 or 3 days precautionary to make sure that we're going to cross that finish line. We're close. Providing there are no other issues, it should take another couple of weeks. There will be some additional noise, abutters at both the Mills and 277 Water Street. It's my understanding that we have notified them. And we will continue to notify folks via press releases on the website and the press and social media as this progresses. But we're very confident that we are going to cross that finish line. It's going to be a couple of extra weeks. So that's the update I can give you for now. But I'll also take the liberty, if I may, to plug August 15th and encourage folks to come out to Tuck Center between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. to vote on the warrant article for the additional funding for the second barrel.
So the schedule is still kind of the same. When they get done with this, they're going to pull out.
That's correct.
And then they come back in the fall at some point, correct?
Once the voters approve this, they'll be back in the fall.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot to mention that caveat, but yeah, once we vote and if it's approved,
correct,
they would come back in the fall.
Correct.
Yeah.
And one question regarding once it's approved, come back in the fall, is that the point where they're going to touch and tie everything together and carry it down?
That's my understanding. Interim Public Works Director Velasic talked to that last Tuesday at deliberative session. He walked through all of the steps, but if it's not immediately after that, Mr. Thompson, it will be shortly thereafter. But this will finish the project once that is approved.
All right, excellent.
That brings us to other business. Darius, I have just one other thing that we had talked a little bit about at the site walk, and that's I would like to reach out to Mark and see if I can get the contacts for the volunteers that were coming down and weeding around the pavilion. And also who the contact is. I think it was the Lions Club that used to come down and stain the benches. And walking through there, I've had, and a couple of people have actually contacted me and asked me about that. It's starting to look a little ragged. If we can't do that, then if we can't get those people back or get the contacts, I think we need to look at probably hiring somebody to do some weeding and all in a couple of the areas down there. Norris Brook, we did hire that out, but the contractor that did it never sent us a bill. He kind of did it and said, I'm doing this for the town, and we appreciated that. So there are a couple of areas that I think that, and I'm going to take the next couple of weeks and touch base with Mark and then make some phone calls. But I wanted to get it on the radar so that, people didn't think we'd forgotten about it. So,
Okay.
Right.
Sounds good.
That's all that I have. How about yourself?
I will say this much, just as a general safety thing, COVID's still out there. Take the necessary precautions. And then the other thing I will say to everyone else, I got some information, not me personally, but I think that if we're outside exercising, everybody should be wearing some type of sun protection to protect your skin, because you only have one skin. It's something that I've been negligent on doing, thinking I may have some natural protection. Nope. It's just important that everyone, protect their skins as we try to protect the parkway.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up with the heat and the weather that we've had this summer, and and I thank you for that. Next meeting date. Hopefully, it should be August 16th.
I was just going to say to you, I'm fairly certain I will not be here.
Well, I'm going to have to see if I can change that, because if my wife is watching, that is our anniversary.
Mr. Chair, I will take a point of personal privilege, and I will gladly make the motion that we have a meeting on the 23rd.
I'm going to second that motion. So, is there any discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. So the next meeting will be August 23rd. I will make sure that I get that right out to Pam so that can be changed. She's really, she was really good about putting up the third Wednesday, so. All right. Thank you, guys. Anything else? Mr. Thompson?
I just want to say, I think you're doing a fantastic job, and hats off to our select board rep. I think the whole select board's doing a great job keeping us informed and all the things and hard decisions to make. And to all the town employees that are out there working every day, I appreciate everything you do. And those that I don't know about, I appreciate what y'all do as well, and keeping us safe and keeping this town running. So I want to say thank you.
Thank you for saying that.
Yes, and I did attend the deliberative session. I thought it went very well. I thought the explanations were good. I thought the moderator handled everything very well. And it's unfortunate that, it's unfortunate that we ran into so many challenges. However, this project needs to get finished for our our fellow residents that live on that side of town, so.
Well, it's close to 40% of the town's.
Right.
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 It is something that has to get done, and I've always said that it's not pretty, but it's infrastructure, and we need to do it.
Right, so, we'll all breathe a sigh of relief when it's finished.
Yes.
All right, so,
May I make a motion?
yes, absolutely.
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Adjourn at 5:22. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 98 and 22. Channel 98 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 13, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.